now. How about now? Usually that always does the trick. There we go. I don't know what the deal is with my mic, but every time I boot up OBS, it just doesn't like it. It gives me all the feedback like it's working, that it hears me, but I always have to unplug it and plug it back in. So yeah, don't be doing that to me, Escalade. Stage did that last time, and it really screwed me up for like a while. But hey, we've got some great StarCraft today. I'm pretty bored. I wanted to do some extra casting, but we're still casting week 3. So the previous couple of casts we did Bargain Bin Bonjwas versus the big naturals. We were focused on tier 3. We did all the tier 3 games. They were complete bangers, GG's, great games by everyone playing. This week we're going to be doing tier 4. So if you're new to CPL or if you're new to watching these, CPL is in several tiers based on skill level, with tier 0 being the highest, with many names that you probably watch in like BSL, etc. And then tier 4 being some of our lesser, our players with less experience. And so that's what we're going to be watching today. This isn't going to be split in half. This is going to be a full breakdown of all the matches that occurred between these two teams. And this is what we've got. And first up, we've got Invalidity playing Protoss against Sechs, who's also playing Protoss. Then we've got YOLO. I'm assuming this is a Spanish pronunciation of Jolo. So I'm going to say YOLO XOXO Protoss against another Protoss of 2SO. And then we've got Peru, you guessed it, playing Protoss against the Zerg Jungy. This one we will do an English pronunciation of the J. And then Strawberry playing Zerg against Whirlwind playing Terran. So we will do the anthem real quick and we'll get right into it. And we're going to have a kick-ass day and everyone's going to work off all that turkey that they ate if you're American. And it's going to be awesome and we're going to love it. And here we go. Got to warm up the fingers for the CPL action.
Winners rise and losers fall, reflexes sharp, minds and floor. Gamers play, this never ends. CPL, legends play. CPL, we fight tonight. Let us sing the storyline. From the shadows to the deep, we are the Coach-Pupil League.
All right, now we can actually get into the StarCraft, okay? So let's go ahead, bounce on into it. We're going to have Invalidity versus Sechs, PvP. First map is going to be Eclipse, and we're all going to love it. Here we go. And I'm sure the game will pop up any minute now. There we go. Excellent. And we're going to shift tab these colors so that they're not ridiculous. And so what we're going to have is up here in the top right of this 2-player map, Eclipse, which I may need to change the scoreboard. Let me check on that real quick. Yep, it says knockout. Now it says Eclipse. Excellent. Well, we have Invalidity up here in the top right of Eclipse as our blue Protoss, representing the Bargain Bin Bonjwas. And then down here in the bottom left, Sechs, representing the big naturals, the biggest of naturals, also playing Protoss. Now, let me go ahead and get... Now, I like to rock out to my own tunes when I'm playing StarCraft. You know, such hits as Call Me Maybe and Friday by Rebecca Black. Sometimes I'll throw in the Narwhal song. But today we're going to be listening to some solid Protoss StarCraft music. Very peaceful. Now we have a pylon going straight into a scout here for Sechs. Very similar thing going on here for Invalidity. Now Invalidity going down to the bottom right. And I can't help but wonder if this is setting up for some sort of proxy, or if this is because he didn't realize he was on Eclipse and he might think it's a 4-player map. And I only bring that up because I have totally done that before. Second probe heading out down here to the natural. Going to probably throw down a sweet forge. Did not expect that. We have a forge opening here from Invalidity. Potential cannon rush might be on the way, but unfortunately, the probe just isn't in the right spot to do that. Might be thinking defensively just right off the get-go. Sechs, probe comes in, does a double take here. Is like, really? You sure? Doing a forge? Rock on, homie. And he throws down his own gateway along with an assimilator so he can start gassing up real good. Oh, are we doing the koala copy-paste? My absolute favorite copy-paste of all time. Or copy-pasta. Alright, so we do have a cannon going down here at the natural. This looks like a PvZ build, kind of a Forge Fast Expand. Don't see it very often in PvP. But Invalidity is, it looks like, potentially just committing to this. Another cannon. Now, the problem with these cannons is that Zealots are so tanky, Dragoons are so tanky, they could probably just run right around this. Or even just straight up attack these cannons. And Invalidity's own ground army is going to be suffering in numbers because of this, I think. But I'm really curious to see how it goes. We have the first gateway, and we are going straight into Dragoons after dropping that Cybernetics core down for Sechs. Absolutely awesome. Double gateway, like double rainbow, but with dudes that come out and do stabby stabs. Still no gateway here for Invalidity. Invalidity banking up a little bit of minerals. Making sure he's got plenty of probes to go out and do some minings. Yeah, we got 2 gate versus 2 cannon. This Dragoon gonna be getting rid of this scouting probe. Ha! Reclaimed his base. His probe's still in the opponent's base though. Getting lots of scouting done. We've got the assimilator going up. So Invalidity gonna start gassing up real good. And this is a gateway. Okay, so now we have the gateway down. And now we have this nice little wall going on here. So as the Dragoons come up, they are definitely not going to be sneaking up into the main base. Not without taking a gajillion shots from these cannons. So Invalidity has a plan. Getting a second gateway up in the main base. And meanwhile, Sechs is getting his expansion. Alright, are we going to see a move out? No, Dragoons are just repositioning over here to the natural, protecting this expansion for Sechs. And we're having a big probe transfer going on here for Invalidity, who, opening with the 2 cannons, is up in worker count. Getting Cybernetics core on the way. This scouting probe still here. Potential opportunity to throw down some cheeky pylons, do some nonsense in the future. And right now, both players just powering up, doing the Protoss thing. Protoss always wins. The counter to cannon is just walking away from it. Yeah, not wrong. Cannons can't follow you. That's why they made Dragoons. Alright, this scouting probe no longer going to be welcome here in Invalidity's base. Getting pushed out by a probe and a zealot. About to get bullied out of here. We'll see if he can make it past the cannons. Oh, nice little juke there. Spin move, circle button, and it heads straight back into the base. Let's go ahead and check out Sechs' army, though, because Sechs is the one that is really trying to get his ground army up and running. Meanwhile, Sechs' probe did go down in a blaze of glory. Additional pylons, still staying on 2 cannons, a couple zealots, and we are getting +1 melee. So, yeah, everyone may laugh and chuckle at the Forge first, but check it out. His zealots are going to be way stronger than Sechs' zealots. Meanwhile, for Sechs, I see it somewhere. Where is it? I bet it's behind the mini-map. Yep. We do have the observatory and a robo facility. So going to be getting some early observers, potentially opening up the option for some shuttle play down the road. And we'll have to see how Sechs wants to play this. PvP, obviously, Reavers and shuttles, a very key component of the matchup. We have more gateways going down. We have a robotics facility going down for Invalidity. And both players really haven't disrupted each other a whole lot. So we are in for probably a huge clash of armies as we enter the mid-game, but no. Sechs is coming out. After that scouting probe has been knocked out, he needs to get information on what's going on here at the natural. Right now, 4 zealots against 5 Dragoons. 5 Dragoons wins that every time, but we have cannons. So we'll see how this engagement goes. What I worry is that the Dragoons are going to come up here and aggro out these Zealots, and the Zealots are going to be forced out of the natural. Yeah, Rice Hat. This has already been a banger of a match. We've got cannons. This opened up as a Forge expand. And I'm loving it. And it's paying off. High risk, high reward here. Already sitting almost at +1 melee. Getting Dragoon range for his own Dragoons. And we already have a robotic support bay up for Invalidity. So Invalidity is going straight into shuttles. Going straight into Reavers. Meanwhile, Sechs is using his to start pumping out his observers. Already has 3 queued up. The first one is coming out now. And it does look like he has that rallied across the map. Okay, so a couple Zealots leaving Invalidity's base. Gonna see where Sechs' army is, and he found it right there. Or rather, it found him. And these Dragoons are gonna move forward. Now, I want Invalidity to take this fight with his cannons and support. But right now, with some good target fire from Sechs, he is able to target down 1 Dragoon rather quickly. This Zealot kind of left on his own. Does a little dance and goes up in blue flames. Okay, so Sechs positioning himself as kind of the aggressor here in this matchup right now. But we have Reavers on the way for Invalidity. And if we can get Reavers out, the Reaver Scarabs are going to be doing huge amounts of damage to this ball of Dragoons that Sechs is kind of trying to kite these Zealots with. So right now, a Goon does go down here for Sechs. Sechs is doing a good job of minimizing the hits that these Zealots are able to get on them. Obviously, the Zealots aren't fast, right? They're kind of low energy Zealots at the moment. And Sechs is going to have full visibility of this this move out of Invalidity's army. Now back up here, we do have the shuttle and the Reaver just popped out. And it looks like Invalidity was all over that. He loads the Reaver up, and we'll see what kind of path he takes because he's going to go straight through these observers. Now, what I worry for Invalidity with this shuttle is, 1, it's not a fast shuttle, and 2, there's a whole bunch of Dragoons out there, and you see the reaction here from Sechs as soon as the observers saw that shuttle, getting into position to intercept. Oh, but he is able to start the fight with these Zealots. Now, if he drops this Reaver, I don't know if he's going to go straight into the main base or if he's going to use it to fight these Dragoons. I want him to go in the main with it. I want him to get a ton of probe kills. And that looks like exactly what he's doing. There's only 1 Dragoon here in the main to defend. 2 here at the natural. Not sure what happened there. Oh, but here comes the Reaver! Oh, boom! Oh my gosh! And all of the probes start melting. We're down to 22 probes for Sechs. Now the Dragoons have locked onto this this shuttle. I want to get the kill count. Drop the Reaver so I can click on it. No, the Hero Reaver dies. But Sechs is doing pretty well here on the front lines. He has a Dragoon advantage. He's picking off all of these Zealots that did have that +1 melee upgrade, and now he's able to pick off these Goons one at a time. Sechs doing a really good job of target firing. You're seeing the spread from Invalidity kind of hitting all the Goons, where Sechs is targeting them down one at a time, getting rid of the DPS of that group in nice little increments. Now, the Zealot is going to get up in the face of these Goons, force them back a little bit, but overall, I think a good trade for Sechs, which Sechs is going to need to do some damage because his, half his workers just went up in flame. Okay. Where are we at? Invalidity. I would not be shocked to see more shuttles and Reavers come out, but that is not the play that we're seeing right now. We are seeing a bunch of gateways go down, and we are starting to pump out a mixture of Zealots and Dragoons. We're even getting Zealot legs, which I think, if this continues to be a very heavy gateway on gateway match, these Zealot legs are going to be absolutely huge in getting in the face of these Dragoons and shut them down. Alright, and if we look at supply, this is one thing I want to point out. The supplies look even, but the worker count is still a huge disparity, which tells us Sechs actually has the superior army right now by a pretty significant margin. Now, it's all in the form of Dragoons, though, and we already know that Invalidity likes using Reavers, and I'd like him to mix in a couple more, but it does look like he's going Templar tech. So his AoE of choice for the remainder of this match, or at least the next chapter of this battle, is going to be utilizing Storm. And Storm is good. Storm is very good. Now the observers for Sechs doing a lot of work here. Allowing Sechs to get into position. And using this high ground, Sechs has a dominant army at the moment. He is going to melt the Zealot Dragoon mix that Invalidity has sent here. Now, the Zealots, you can see, getting up in the face of these Dragoons a lot faster. They are getting a lot of hits, but that just wasn't a big enough force. And so, unfortunately, Invalidity did trickle out a pretty large portion of his army and is in kind of a rough position. Again, though, the one thing Invalidity has going for him is that superior economy and the superior gate count. Let's go ahead and count gateways. Let's start at the top. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gateways. Now, if we go over here to Sechs, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is Sechs in German. So, might be a little bit of a pattern here. No, Rice Hat, we don't make sex jokes on this stream. Do we? Alright, first Templar is out. Gaining energy. Storm almost complete. Knocking out 7 Dragoons at a time here, along with these High Templar. And Invalidity, you can see, just has a ton of minerals. Yeah, Escalade. I watch a lot of children programming. Because I have kids. Not because I have a taste for Paw Patrol. Alright. Goons everywhere. Ooh! Okay, so Sechs, this is kind of his comeback mechanic, right? Getting expansions faster than Invalidity. He does have his third base up, starting to get saturated, and you can see the worker count has stabilized. Or he's caught up, rather, in probe count. When are my kids going to join CPL? Oh, God. Once I'm not an embarrassment in CPL. Once I'm to the point where I'm not afraid of my kids being... Yeah, exactly. I don't want to get upstaged by them. Come on. All right, here we go. Big engagement. I want to point out Sechs is here on the high ground, but these Zealots with the speed and the upgrades are going to be running up here and getting in the face of these goons and tanking a lot of these shots. You can see here how the fight is going very quickly in the Invalidity's favor. And now we've got Storm about to come up. Now, if we get a big Storm right here, oh, nice. Only catches a couple. Zaps a good amount of his own Zealots, but that's what Zealots are there for. Now, still sitting at 0-0 upgrades for the Dragoons for Sechs, where we are at 1-1 for Invalidity, and you can really see that paying off. Now, Invalidity not letting off the gas. He is charging across the map. Now, production at home for Sechs is still up and going, but he only has Sechs, and that's 6 in English, gateways to produce out of. Invalidity doing a good job of keeping his macro up at home. 6 Zealots and a Dragoon on the way. 2-2 upgrades about to be finished up. This goon... These goons are just walking through. Now, guess who wishes they probably had cannons right now? Probably Sechs. Now, we got the big probe pool. We got warrior probes getting up in the face, taking a little bit of the Dragoon shots, zapping as much as they can, but a huge Storm just erases them, and that's going to be GG. Good game. That was a lot of fun. Now, Invalidity is going to take the first match here for the bargain bin Bonjwas, but this is a best of 3. So let's go ahead. No, I don't want to listen to the CPL song again. We did that. We did that. Let's go ahead and do the score thingy. Invalidity, he's on the left. Boom, there we go. All right, now let's go into game number 2. We gotta rock and pop through these things, all right? I've only got so long until my kids come home. They start asking about CPL, upstaging me. We can't have that. Next map is gonna be Polestar. Which I did just learn is 2 words, not 1 word. Alright, here we are on Polestar, a 4-player map this time. We have a cross spawn, and in the bottom right, representing big naturals, is Sechs. Now in the top left, we have Invalidity, who just got the first match win against Sechs, representing the bargain bin Bonjwas. Now I'm hoping we see more cannon play. You know, he won that first map, right? And if, you know, don't fix it if it's not broke. Like Mama always said, don't fix it if it's not broke. And also, a dealer never does their own product. Rice Hat loves Sechs. Good job, Rice Hat. We got some Sechs fans in the chat. Alright, Sechs doing his standard throw down a pylon and go scouting. Looks like he might be going straight cross map as well. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Rice Hat. Hey, we've got the pylon at the natural. I want to see a forge go down. But I want to see it turn into a cannon rush. Yep, probe's down here. He's like, what the hell is this? Starts tasing it. Natural response from probes. Sechs and goons, baby. Sechs and goons. Alright, gateway going down here for Sechs. Simulator as well. We're seeing more of the same build order. Last time we kind of saw that. Oh, there's the forge! It's up, everybody. We're forging. It's forging time. Looks like he's ready to expand as well. Now, I'm hoping after last game that Sechs got a little bit of coaching or looked at the replay or just kind of recognized the vulnerability that exists here for Invalidity. Now, I don't necessarily know that's the case. Oh, maybe. Because he's not going straight into Cybercore this time. He is going straight into 2-gate. And he's sending his Mr. G house straight across the map. Okay, this could just be GG. Probe gets tased. Expansion? He expands here, he might be in trouble. Expansion does go down. Now he's got a little bit of time until he gets the cash to throw down a cannon. But this Zealot's going to get here, and I hope that Sechs sends it straight up into the main. Just starts murking probes. Oh! He cancels the Nexus. Okay, cancels the Nexus. He realizes, hey, I'm in trouble. Throws down 2 cannons. But is it going to be enough? And is it going to be in time? Now, one of the things that could go wrong for Sechs here is if Sechs just starts attacking this stuff. Alright, he goes for the probe down here at the natural. Good. Doesn't get too distracted by it. Doesn't get sucked into the cannons. Alright. Here we go. Sechs learning from game number 1. Running right up here into the mineral line. He's already got 1 probe kill. Going for a second. Now these probes, they're fighting back. Nice little micro here. Ton of lost mining time already. A lot of cannons being made. And guess what? His buddies are showing up. Wonder what his buddies' names are. Probably like very alien names, like Iron, and then the other one's probably like Tony. Okay, so Tony and Iron are on their way. Okay. Now, luckily the cannons can't actually range the minerals. So as long as he keeps the Zealot by the minerals, he's going to be having a great day. Yo, what's up, Criggy? Alright, 2 more Zealots being sent across the map. And more cannons being made here for Invalidity. Now, the Zealot in the main does go down. And we're starting to pool up some Zealots out here outside the natural. Now, the expansion was denied. The probes were disrupted. We're at 19 to 14 probes in favor of Sechs. We have a good amount of Zealots here. Now, I don't know what the math is for Zealots versus cannons. But I feel like it doesn't take a whole lot to knock out 2. And we're about to find out. Alright, so we got 6 Zealots. So place your bets, everybody. Oh, but a Zealot showed up. That changes the math. And you have this wall to contend with. Thinking about it. Thinking real hard. Meanwhile, back at home, throwing down an expansion. Pylon. Are we teching up? We do. We have a core. And we're going Robo Facility. Now, last game, we saw Invalidity with the Reaver play. This game, I want to see Sechs with the Reaver play. Sechs last time doing a really good job with his observers, having them all over the map. Was able to identify when the shuttle was coming out. Was able to identify army movements of Invalidity. So we'll see what he ends up doing here. Sending out a couple Zealots. I like this. I think this is primarily for vision. He's going to check for expansions, it looks like. But also just being around the map. It seems like Sechs is definitely a player that likes to know what's going on everywhere. Feels more comfortable when the observers are out. Feels comfortable when he's got Zealots out to deny expansions. He feels he can't break this, so he might as well put his Zealots to use in denying any type of cheeky potential for probes to slip out, etc. Couple goons going across the map. Yeah, you can send your bingo card to Anderson's personal email. Big Naturals Sechs bingo. Yes, everybody. That's what it is. We're all about goons and Sechs here. Alright, meanwhile, another gateway going down for Invalidity. So Invalidity's double cannon fast expand build still working for him. He did get punished a little bit, but not enough to say, hey, this isn't a good idea. Called creativity, ladies and gentlemen, and I would love to see it. We got 3 gateways here for Sechs, 4th one on the way. And he is doing the observer thing. Okay, so we're not going to be seeing a support facility and Reavers right off the bat. But we are just seeing a continuation of this army growing. And when he has this contained set up, what I'd like to see from Sechs is a 3rd expansion. That would, I feel like, seal the deal. If he's not going to do Reavers, which is just blasphemy in my opinion, as someone that doesn't play Protoss but hates Reavers, you might as well take over the whole map. More goons being built. Invalidity doing the same thing, getting +1 melee. Ooh, where is it, Sechs? Stargate. Now, what's he going for, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to find out. I hope he's going straight to carrier scouts. Yeah, he's going to go scouts. I want to see mass scouts this game. Nothing coming out of Stargate just yet. Waiting for kind of a tech choice to be decided here. Fleet beacon. Let's do it. Hey, cannons are scary. You know what's pretty good against cannons? Carriers. Carriers are the counter to all things. Alright, so Observer's going to be poking in here. Doesn't get shot down. Nice little control there, getting it out of range of the cannons. Sees that this is nice and saturated. And now he's going to go for the expansion. I'm liking this. Sechs is doing a great job of continuing his advantage after that early game pressure that he was able to put on. This is not quite a double expand escalade. He just brought a buddy. Alright. Whole bunch of pylons. We do have the robo facility going down for Invalidity. Now, Invalidity, I definitely expect to be throwing down Reavers. A lot of Zealots here. This is kind of a tough wall to break with the army that Sechs has. And it looks like we're in for a good amount of time until carriers start hitting the board. But Sechs is taking a 3rd, and he did opt to take a main base as well. So, handedly ahead when it comes to the economy fight. Alright, Observer kind of poking around, snooping and pooping, keeping an eye on the army here for Invalidity. And we have the support bay. So, can the Reaver get across the map and kill the Fleet Beacon or Starports as it's making carriers? I don't know if this is the push we want to do. Alright, so a lot of Zealots coming out here for Invalidity. +1 not quite done yet. And the number of Dragoons here going to be a problem, I think, for our blue Protoss player. Yeah, they continue to being rallied out here, and I think Sechs might just pull the trigger. Sechs is going to go for it. Now, +1 did finish. +1 armor underway. Gonna be denied. Oh, not denied. These Zealots saving their armor. Psych. It goes down. And now the Goons are just going to shred these cannons. I'm not seeing much here with Invalidity's army. That looks like he'll be able to stand up to this. This is a lot of Dragoons. Second cannon goes down. And the Dragoons are going to start making their way into the natural base. Now, how are we doing on carriers? Almost done, but Invalidity tosses in the towel. And that is going to get us to a game 3. Big Naturals earning a map win here. We've got a series, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a series. Oh, man, oh, man. All right, for everyone keeping track, we are at 1-1 in this first of 4 series today. Let's go into game number 3. Game number 3 is going to be on Knockout. All right, so coming off almost getting a carrier out, which is the end-all be-all of all games. Sechs, here in the bottom left on Knockout, representing the Big Naturals. And then up here in the top right, representing the Bargain Bin Bonjwas, we have Invalidity as our blue Protoss. And my God, I hope we see another Forge Fast expand. But we did see last game that Sechs had caught on to the Forge Fast expand. Sent us out straight into the main base and got about 5 probe kills and really forced Invalidity to expend a ton of resources, making cannons everywhere. And so we'll see if there's a change of heart from our blue Protoss, and it does look like already that he is adjusting his game plan for this match. You know, I'm not terribly shocked he did it game 2. It worked game 1. If, you know, don't fix it if it's not broke. But now he saw a little bit of the weakness. He saw it get taken advantage of in game number 2, and so going to be making an adjustment. All right. So as the probes are going out, I did just want to mention that we are at $15 and some cents for the channel. And once we hit 50, which is the payout amount for Twitch, that's when I'm going to be able to start offering monetary compensation for open tournaments in Starcraft Underground. So, as we enter the new month, if you have a Prime sub available, I would greatly appreciate your Prime sub. Using all of that money, 100% of the cash that comes into this Twitch channel goes straight into SKU monetary prizes. And if you're not a part of Starcraft Underground, you should join. It's for all levels. There's always a bracket to join, and all the matches are, you have 1 week to schedule. So very flexible for those of you that can't make it in the regularly scheduled tournament timings. But back to CPL, in this week 3 tier 4 match, we do have Sechs with his scouting probe hiding up here in Invalidity's base. Invalidity going into a more normal, I don't say normal, but a more standard PvP build. He's doing 1 gateway into a core. He's going to need some gas, though, if he plans on going into goons off of this. And then also Invalidity going in and scouting Sechs's base. Zealot knocks out the scouting probe, and I imagine what we're going to see from Sechs is this Zealot going straight into Invalidity's base. Yo, Invalidity! Hey, thanks, man. Really appreciate it. You should join StarCraft Underground. It's a good time. Also, love watching your matches. Thanks for being a part of CPL. Alright, we do have a Zealot blocking the ramp. So, anticipating the Zealot that killed his scouting probe to come straight across. Invalidity, thanks for the follow, bro. Alright, we have a second gateway going down and a Cybernetics core for Sechs. Sechs is going to have the gas to start Dragoon production. We've been seeing this from Sechs. He likes to go straight into goons. Now, this probe kind of stealing the attention here of the Zealot, but it does go down. And it looks like... Ooh, looks like Sechs' Zealot might come out on top here. And it does. And it runs away! He's able to save it! I would have loved to see Invalidity take a step forward with that Zealot and knock it out. Second Zealot here, standing outside the natural for Sechs. And then we have that Dragoon production underway. So I want to keep an eye on Invalidity as he changes his build order from the Forge Fast Expand. I really do want to see the Assimilator go down, or an explosion of gateways. We do have another pylon being warped in at the moment. Couple Zealots here on the ramp. And a Robo Facility going down for Sechs. Was there a third gateway? Yeah, so 3 gateway observer, likely. And the goons heading over to meet up with the Zealots. Now, these Zealots are beat up, or at least one of them is very beat up, so these two should be able to clean up Sechs' Zealots fairly easily. A little bit late to the response there was Sechs, and now with the goons showing up, I think Invalidity is going to end up losing these Zealots, unfortunately. Alright, he does clean up the 2 Zealots that he was chasing, but now these 2 are going to get schwacked by these goons. Alright, goon schwacking going down in the middle of the map. Invalidity, I appreciate the no spoilers. Alright, 2 gateways still. We do have the expansion going down for Invalidity. This is faster than Sechs's. Sechs looks like he wants to get one down. He does. Nexus is starting to be warped in. Jungy! What's up? We got your game coming up here soon, too. Welcome, welcome. So 3 gateways from Sechs. Doesn't look like we have the observatory just yet. Getting a second gas. And a whole boatload of Zealots coming in here from Invalidity. Starting to move out. Well, Jungy, great job getting Invalidity into the game and getting him into CPL. How long have you been playing Invalidity? Invalidity Zealots has Sechs' Dragoons on the run. Gonna need to get back to this natural to protect it. Only one goon here in the rear to defend against these Zealots. But now there's 4. This should be easily defended by our red Protoss player. Oh, and here's the Forge and Cannons! Hell yeah, Invalidity. That's what I'm talking about. Started playing about a year ago. Excellent. Hi, Corvo. Oh, I'm sorry, you're waiting at Firehex. Never mind. Alright, Zealots ganging up on this one Dragoon. Oh no, they get a little bit spread out. Good micro there from Sechs. Getting the Zealots to kind of go everywhere. Gonna be able to kite them as they're moving around. This original Dragoon somehow surviving. Able to get a lot of extra DPS in that fight. And now we've got +1 melee weapons being researched for our blue Protoss and has gone up to 4 gateways. As well as the Citadel. Alright, Observatory is up for our red Protoss. And I need to check my phone real quick. Alright, a couple more gateways going down for a red Protoss player. Moving out a little bit with Observer. We got some Dragoons. Now this is the weak Dragoon leading the way. It does get popped by this Zealot. And Invalidity Zealots here just getting a little bit ganged up on are going to end up going down. Did buy a little bit of time, though, for the production to continue pumping out these Zealots. The Zealots, if they stay back with these cannons, I think have a pretty decent fight or opportunity to defend here. Now, we are still waiting on legs and +1 melee for these guys. But once those are done, I think Invalidity will be in a decent spot here to defend. Now, Observer is hovering over the main base of Invalidity, seeing that it is just gateways, that there isn't a robotics facility or anything like that to worry about at this time. And back home, continuing to produce drones, probes, gateways, all that stuff that Protoss has come to love. Oh yeah, Corvo, your 96 SCVs. What's up, my man? Thanks for joining us on this wonderful Monday. Freaking hate Mondays, bruh. Dragoon having a tough time figuring a way out of this base. But here come all the Zealots. Now, speed is done for these Zealots, so they're going to be able to chase these Dragoons and the slow Zealots all over the place. Might be able to get a lot of extra hits, which we're seeing here. +1 still not done, though. But these Zealots are doing a great job of forcing Sechs to send his whole army home. So now he's got map control. And I'm curious to see what Invalidity does with it. He may just try to charge in here and get more damage, or he might try to expand behind this. Wondering if maybe he'll just kind of park out here and contain a little bit. Looks like he's going to be diving in. He's going to dive in, he kills one Zealot, gets a Dragoon. Not, I think, the best engagement for Invalidity here. There's just so much, so many Dragoons here to support Sechs. Alright, so they do back off a little bit. Likely going to get cleaned up by those Dragoons. I want to see what additional tech we're seeing in our blue Protoss space. Does look like we're seeing Templar Archives go down. +1 armor is now underway after +1 melee is complete. Invalidity definitely seems to like his Zealots. And we've got a Stargate! Do we have a fleet beacon? No, we've got Arbiter Tribunal. Ooh. Now, Arbiters. Always good, but especially good when there's no observers. Now, we do have a robotics facility going down for our blue Protoss. We're going to have to wait until that's complete to see if he throws down an observatory with it, or if he tries to do something else. Oh, man. I'm excited for Arbiters. Now, Storm is almost complete. I imagine that might be the trigger for Invalidity to try to move out on the map again. Especially, or maybe he'll wait until +1 ground armor is complete. +1 melee being researched for Sechs. Yo, I feel you there, Invalidity, where you're saying like most of your matchups are against Zerg players. I'm the opposite. Like most of my matchups that I play are against Protoss. And so when I play any other matchup, I'm just like, what do I do? Alright, so we do have the observatory going down. We are going to have observers on the field for Invalidity, and this is really well timed. I don't think he has any awareness that Arbiters are about to hit the field. But he's going to definitely want to keep those observers alive if he's going to want to try to fight in the open against those Arbiters. Now, what I'm curious is if we're going to get to see a huge recall. Big recall from Sechs would be freaking dope. More observers coming out. Sechs definitely seems to have trained, making sure he has map vision. And a lot of Zealots. A lot of Zealots. Now, if these Zealots come clash to clash with this, now there's a good amount of Zealots here for Sechs too. But with these upgrades, +2 melee on the way, +1 armor almost done. He has Zealot legs. They're going to be able to get into the face of these Dragoons and lay down a big hurtin'. We also have High Templar. That's also going to be very effective against the big clumps of Dragoons. But both players completely content with just sitting back and macroing. But here comes a little bit of a move out. Looks like Sechs might be starting to get his guys into control groups. You can usually tell because they're in little groups of 12, right? So like here's a control group. Here-ish is a control group. Here's the leftover control group. And then when this Arbiter comes out, boom, here we go. Oh, we're off to the races. Also, I want to point out both players have secured a third. We got the all-mineral third being taken here by Sechs, and then the third up here being taken by Invalidity. Now, this one has the gas, so definitely a superior base to take. Sechs might be getting a fourth base behind this push, but oh man, am I excited to see this. Now, I did want to point out, I think I missed it, but I think he upgraded stasis. I don't think he upgraded recall, so there goes my hopes and dreams of an enormous recall. Oh, we're gonna have a clash of battles out here in the middle. And there's no observer seeing this, so he's not gonna know this army's coming until this observer. Okay, so now he's aware. He sees a big old line of blue heading straight towards him. And here comes the fight. Now, no observer with this army, so the Zealots are gonna come crashing down here on what they can see. Oh man, the observer's doing such a good job of cloaking all of these units, forcing these Zealots to run around in circles. And I think the Arbiter's presence here, just applying this cloak to everything, is going to make this engagement so difficult for Invalidity. Now, the Zealots are getting in the back line, but they're getting completely surrounded by these Dragoons, and you can see the supply just tanking here for Invalidity. He only has, what is that math? 6 supply worth of army? Now, let's see if we get a big storm. Storm, baby! Yeah! And then the High Templar dies, and here comes the retaliation. Sechs on a warpath straight to the natural of Invalidity. What do we have? We've got cannons, baby. And that's gonna be it. 2-1. It goes to Sechs. Great game. This is a lot of fun. Alright, so let's go ahead, give Sechs that big fat W. And that's going to put big naturals on the board, leading 1-0. They won their first series, okay? So let's move into the next one. We've got joloxoxo against Tusa. Let me go ahead and fix that scorecard before we get to it. joloxoxo playing Protoss, and Tusa playing Protoss. 0-0. They're going to start on Eclipse probably. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and find it. Right. I got to figure out like hotkeys for streaming. Yeah, massive dub, huge dub, the biggest of dubs. All right, let's get into it. Eclipse, 2-player map, as always. It always is. And we've got Uchikomi, also known as... I can't see the scorecard. Let me pull it up. joloxoxo. And Tusa in the bottom left, representing the big naturals, who right now are 1-0 in our Tier 4 cast. So we're going to have to see if they carry on with that. Ooh, and if you're playing bingo, we got some in-game chat going on here. That's usually a bingo square. In addition to, you know, Manshark finds his pants, etc. All right, more PvP action. Now it's time to take some sipperoonies of some drinkaroonies. The bingo square of Manshark gets a face tattoo. Yeah, well, fun fact, this mustache is actually a tattoo. It's not a tattoo. So it looks like Tusa has a lost probe up here. Probably a situation where, a little unfamiliar with the map. He's gonna try down here. How do we get out of here? Is this in fact an island? Ah, there it is, we found the ramp. That's where he wants to put the pylon. Alright, so Tusa's got his pylon down. We've got a gateway going up for Uchikomi, which I think is Vietnamese for Manshark. Don't quote me on that, though. But if it is, that's trademark infringement. We have the scout going out for Uchikomi. We're still hanging out here. What's up, Cy Hardy? Thanks for the follow. Tier 4, what rank? I mean, Tier 4 is mostly F rank. Low E. Yeah, not sure you're familiar with CPL, but if you're not a part of CPL, you should join it. It's broken down. I mean, it's a league, 4 teams, preseason. I think it's like 9 weeks of season play and then playoffs. It's a learning league, and it has 5 different tiers. From Tier 0 being the super go-to players that you see in like BSL and stuff. They generally are coaches on the teams. And then all the way down to Tier 4, which is our less experienced players. All right, we have a forge going down in addition to the gateway here for Tusa. And all this is being seen by Uchicomi's scouting probe, which he's doing a good job of kind of just snooping and pooping, keeping an eye on things. Oh no, this might be a disaster for Tusa. We've got 3 zealots steamrolling across the map. There's going to be 1 zealot popping out. There's no static defense like we saw last game. And this probe is keeping an eye on what's going on and also going to add some DPS to the fight. We've got 1 zealot trying to hold the ramp. We're going to see what kind of surface area Uchicomi can get with these zealots. I'm sure he's going to commit with them. And here we go. Going straight to the G house. All for ire. Now the probe initiating the fight, trying to bait out the zealot, and does. Going to get the surround here. These 3 zealots going to make quick work. Nice little micro there from Uchicomi. Getting the one that got the initial hit, trying to drag that zealot around the others. And here we go, a cannon a little too late. And this might be it for Tusa. Another cannon being attempted, but no, it gets shut down. Another one being attempted, it gets shut down. And these zealots deciding they want to unpower the entirety of the infrastructure for Tusa. Looks like they're going to make really fast work of this pylon. It goes down. Everything is unpowered. A replacement pylon is being built. This zealot trying to confuse the zealots of Uchicomi. Uchicomi sending more dudes to the base. That guy goes down, and now this is just Uchicomi's base to poke to death. Don't forget there's a probe up here. Wow, look at that. That is a hidden probe. Alright, warrior probe. Trying to peek over the shoulders. Hey guys, I want to get in the fight. Gets in, unpowers everything again. But Tusa is not done with this fight. Throwing down another pylon. Tusa is in it to win it. He's not losing probes, so he's like, I got time. Look at this, gonna throw down another pylon probably. Yup. Unfortunately, this hero construction probe does go down to Uchicomi's zealots. But it looks like, oh my gosh, it's not close enough to power this gateway. It's still unpowered. Just throwing down anything everywhere. A couple cannons going up all over the place. Another pylon. These gateways have now been repowered, and now we're about to see the army come back for Tusa. But not if it gets denied by Uchicomi. Uchicomi turning his attention towards some of these probes now. Oh man, I do love Tusa trying to fight this out. But I think he might be dead. I don't like calling these things too early. But we're at 1 probe. We're at 0 probes. But we've got money to make more. Not looking good. Not looking good here, ladies and gentlemen. I wonder if he makes him kill all the buildings. That might be a first for me. Oh, man. Win condition. Hey, that's the way Blizzard intended it. You know, Blizzard didn't put in a surrender button on purpose. Because you win by killing all the buildings. And you know what? Oh! But Uchicomi, or Tusa, left before he had the satisfaction. GG. Let's go ahead and add one to yoloxoxo for the bargain bin Bonjwas, and let's go into game number 2. That was very entertaining. Love to see it. Love to see the tenacity, right? I think Wolfix just published a video and it's like, how bad do you want to win, right? Fight harder. You know, if you think you're losing, put it in there because you can always come back. In that game, there might have been a point where Tusaw couldn't come back, but the effort definitely deserves an A. Let's go into game number 2. This time we're going to be on Polestar. And we'll see if things change a little bit with it being a 4-player map. Alright, so Polestar, we got Tusaw down here in the bottom right representing the big naturals. And we got yoloxoxo up here in the top left as our red Protoss. Uchikomi representing the bargain bin Bonjwas. Oh man, that was a banger of a match. A little bit of an APM disparity right now, but I do respect players that don't spam. I mean, how many clicks does it really take to make a probe every 30 seconds, you know? Boom, click, 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 click. Love it. It's called efficiency. Pylon goes down here for Uchikomi. Yeah, I can't spam anything. I go as hard as I can. I'm sweating. I've got calluses on my fingers, and my APM's like 4. Pylon going down here for Tusaw. Alright. Got a gateway. Gonna be able to make an army here soon. Alright, gateway going down for Tusaw. A little bit behind Uchikomi's production. Uchikomi throwing down a second gateway already. Looking like he's trying to capitalize on the aggressiveness that he had last match into this one. Now the biggest difference here is last match was on Eclipse. It was a 2-player map, and he knew exactly where his opponent was, right? We're gonna have to see how effective Uchikomi's scouting is if he's gonna try to do something as early as he did last game. And it looks like he's going down here to the bottom left, so we'll have to see how much time that buys Tusaw to get into his build. Gateway just now finishing up for Tusaw. First Zealot about to come out for Uchikomi. And we'll see if he sends this to another base, right? Like, sometimes you'll see the probe go down here to the bottom left while the Zealot heads out onto the map at least, you know, so that it can change direction based on what the probe identifies. Probe identifies that Tusaw is not in the bottom left. And is going to be heading over here to the bottom right. He's going to get that scout off real quick. Second gateway here for Tusaw. Initial Zealot has popped out. And he might be able to deny this scout depending on where he parks it. I think last game we saw him park it on the ramp. Oh, he's trying to send it straight across. Does see the probe, but that Zealot's on a mission. Probe's going to be coming up here. He's going to see, okay, we got 2 gates. Got it. We have another pylon. Cool, cool. And gets a full scout of Tusaw's base. 3 Zealots again. The old 2-gate, 3 Zealot push. Running straight across the map. Now, Tusaw's getting a little lucky here in going straight cross spawn. He doesn't actually know where Uchikomi is. This is going to buy him a lot of time because he has these 3 Zealots turning around and chasing. And the 4th one. Will the 5th one chase? And the 5th one! So this entire army of Zealots that could have just gone straight across the map and wreaked havoc on Tusaw's base is instead playing follow the leader and just chasing around Tusaw's Zealot. Now, unfortunately, it did stop, and he's going to get shanked real fast. But now these guys are going to have to start walking all over again. And meanwhile, Tusaw's got the time to throw down a pylon and start building his own Zealots. Here they come. Dun-dun, dun-dun. A whole gang of Zealots. A choir of Zealots? I don't know. What is it? What's a group of cheetahs called? Isn't it? It's not like a herd. I know like crows or ravens is like a murder. You got like a herd of cows. You got a boy band of vultures. I don't remember what a fanatic of zealots. Yeah, I like that. Cheetahs have a weird one too. It's like a coalition or something like that. All right, these zealots are just straight up outnumbering Tusaw zealots, and looks like this is a tough position for Tusaw to fight out of. We do have a Cybernetics core going down. Not sure if it's going to finish in time for Dragoons to come out and start kiting these zealots around. Ooh. Oh, okay. It's repositioned. I thought there for a second those two zealots from Tusaw were going to scare away this group. Going for the pylon again. We're having another game where he's going to try to unpower the production, and this time with as many zealots as he has, that happens very quickly. Right now, no army coming to the aid of Tusaw. He is on his own with his probes. And this time, the zealots, changing direction, going to start knocking down these cannons before they can warp in and be of any use. A flash mob. Yeah, this flash mob of zealots going to absolute town here on Tusaw's probes. But if there's anything we know about Tusaw, is that Tusaw is not a quitter. He is going to fight to his very last breath. More zealots trickling in for our red Protoss player. More of the probes going down. We're at 4, 3, 2. 2 probes remaining. Uh-oh. Down to 1 probe. Ah, Cybernetics core goes down. Everything is dying. Oh, man. Pulse Fang the Howler. Thanks for the follow, man. Appreciate it. And I think Uchikomi has this. And I think he's going to get a 2-0 victory over Tusaw and get one in the books for the bargain bin Bonjwas. Okay, so last game we saw Tusaw wait until the last building was almost dead and then GG. There it is. I love it. Congratulations, Uchikomi. Quick series. All right, that's going to give the bargain bin Bonjwas. They're going to tie up the score here with joloxoxo getting 2-0 over Tusaw. Now we're going to mix up the PvP and we're going to go into a PvZ, and what we're going to see is we're going to see Peru, who always goes by a crazy username, I think. So we'll see what he actually has in store for us today, representing the bargain bin Bonjwas, and he is going to face off against Jungy, our Zerg player, and also a recent follower of the channel, if I'm not mistaken. This will probably be on Eclipse, and I exited out of that by accident. And let's go ahead and jump into it. Very cool. Gonna get to see some Zergy action. Jungy! Yes, hello. No spoilers now. I know you're a big person on spoiling. Okay. I unexited out of that. Oh man, I suck at the tech side of streaming. Alright. This doesn't look like Eclipse. So, looks like we're on a different map. Sometimes that happens with the replays. I'll wait for a second. Actually, let me just double check. Okay, yeah, so we're on Polestar. Let me go ahead and change the map here on the scoreboard. And the one time I'm on top of it, the replays are in an order that I didn't expect. But anyway, down here in the bottom right, representing the bargain bin Bonjwas, we have Peru, also known as Pepperu. And this is the top right, not bottom right, like I just said. And then our blue Zerg here in the bottom right is Jungy, representing the big natural. So big, so beautiful. Right now we had a drone come over here, think about doing something, and then ran right back to the mineral line. Because he had a job to do. It was chewing on minerals. I like to sit here and look at the Zerg for a little bit, just to see what kind of build we're doing. So it does look like we're doing Overpool over here for the Protoss. This time we might actually see a Forge fast expand. There's a Forge. Getting into it. We've got Peru's probe hanging out here, keeping an eye on things, waiting to see when that gas goes down. Don't think he saw the spawning pool, but fair assumption that it's there. Meanwhile, Forge is finishing up here at the natural for Peru. Probably going to start seeing. Now, this is kind of where I've seen decisions change, right? Does he go straight for the expansion? Does he throw down a gateway? Does he throw down a cannon first, then a gateway? Does he throw down 6 cannons and then charge with his probes across the field? Like, there's so many options. Protoss can really do anything. And he needs to decide pretty quick because there are 3 pairs of Zerglings about to hatch and go speeding across the map. Now, notice there's no expansion here for our Zerg player as of yet. It doesn't even look like he's thinking about it. Looks like maybe a one base kind of play here. We got 6 Zerglings heading out. Gonna get a little distracted here with the probe, but that doesn't eat up too much time. Unless he keeps chasing it all over the place. Let's see where it goes. Ah, okay, good. He does redirect the Zerglings, but he brings them back home. Now, if he had charged across, so we're seeing the gateway go down first. So we have the gateway going down, kind of sealing off the wall with the Forge, along with the Nexus, but no cannons as of yet. So I think if these Zerglings had ran straight across, they might have been able to start picking away at a couple of these buildings and be very annoying and distracting to our Protoss player. So we've got gas, we've got drones, we've got a hatchery. All right, so expansion is going down. And this is looking to shape up to be a relatively standard game of ZVP. That probe did end up surviving. Ran over here, said what's up to an overlord. Decided to go back home. Still no cannons for our Protoss player. Saving up some cash here. Getting a cybernetic score. Ooh, and are we even going to see another expansion? Or are we going to see another hatchery? So we're having a macro hatch go down here at the natural. Going to bring the hatchery count up to 3. Still no lair. Okay, there's the lair. Cybernetics core completes. Got +1 melee on the way for our Protoss player. And the players are chilling. Bing chilling. Okay, so we're waiting for the layer to complete. We'll see if he decides to go into mutas. That might be the play that Jungy's trying to knock out here. We got 3 zealots on the field, still no cannons. Citadel of a Dune warping in, just now finishing up. We have Zergling speed being researched. Should be done here momentarily along with the layer, and then we're going to kind of see the direction that Jungy wants to take this. Jungy, I think, feeling a little bit nervous, decides to throw down a gajillion creep colonies. Definitely going to be useful in the event of a heavy zealot push. A couple more gateways going down, bringing the gateway count to 3 for our Protoss player. And repositioning the overlords across the map, just to keep an eye on the avenues of attack. See when a push out is going to come from the Protoss. Alright, so layer is complete. 3 Sunkens complete. Got 3 hatcheries. And we're a little supply block. So we're getting a couple of overlords. And then we'll see what he does. I want to see something happen with this layer. I want to see whether we're going to go into Spire or we're going to throw down like a Hydralisk Den. getting an Evo chamber. Zealot count continuing to increase. The gateways are complete, pumping out more zealots, and we do look like we're going to be going into Templar. Yep, Storm is researching, and we're also getting a Stargate. So likely see some Corsairs bebopping around. Alright, here comes our fanatic of zealots running across the map. They definitely have zealot legs. Now we do have the Hydra Den finishing up, by the way, right now. So that is the direction that our Zerg player is going. Also about to send out a drone and get an expansion, but there's not enough Zerglings to deal with this. They're going to have to buy time so these Sunkens can do their work. Sunkens beating up a couple of these zealots does end up pushing them back just to the opening of the natural. Now, I don't think our Zerg player has seen this Stargate, but in the event that we start seeing Corsairs, the Overlords are in positions that are pretty easy for the pickings. But right now our Zerg player is starting to power up with a ton of Hydralisks. We're having, I saw a Dark Archon, or I'm sorry, Dark Templar. We got DT on the field, y'all. And we've got High Templar on the field. And we're waiting for a third base. There is so much happening right now. Alright, the Hydra count is starting to build up. We're getting +1. What is this, range? Yeah, we got Lugi range being researched. We got +1 Carapace coming in hot. Nice little aggro there on the Zealot, pulling him into the swarm of Hydralisks. And I would not be shocked if we saw a little bit of a move out coming here soon from our Zerg player. Just building up forces, waiting for these upgrades to finish. And what are we looking at from an army standpoint from Peru? We've got 7 Zealots, 4 more. We got this DT hanging out here, which is just so awesome to me. Because there's Overlords everywhere, right? I don't think that detection is going to be much of an issue for our Zerg player. Haven't seen anything come out of the Stargate yet. Getting a Robo Facility. Undoubtedly wants to start getting observers. He starts seeing all these Hydralisks. He's thinking, okay, there's probably lurkers at some point. Ooh, ends up losing all of his Zerglings there. Kind of a bummer here for Jungy. But the Hydralisk count is growing. Getting ready for a bust. But also a little bit of a move out. We got the DT trying to be all sneaky and stuff. Let's see where this guy goes. Now, it looks like he may come over here to the 3rd base, but instead he's going to go to where the 4th base would be. Maybe post up, kill any drones that come up in that direction. DT could do a lot of damage here if it gets redirected. There's not a whole lot of Overlords nearby. All the Overlords are forward out on the map, which earlier we were saying is a little bit dangerous, and I stick to that because a couple Corsairs are coming out, and if they just start flying around, they're going to encounter a whole bunch of Overlords that are very nearby the base. But here comes the Hydralisk. This is a lot of Zealots, though. These Hydralisks need to be careful. They end up retreating. No losses for either side. And we have a 3rd base going up for our Protoss player. Alright, we're continuing to chill. We actually got Shuttle instead of Observer. We're getting Observer now. I'm curious what he's going to be using the Shuttle for, and what I'd imagine would be High Templar drops. Storm drops. And I think that that would be pretty powerful. Whole lot of Zealots, whole lot of Hydras. Got some slow Overlords. Oh, here we go. Nice little interaction. Any moment here. I don't think you missed any BM. I'm going to give, I think it might be referring to Tusaw. But I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt on that one. Alright, Corsairs are out and about on the field, starting to snipe all these Overlords. One does go down. Still not supply blocked for Jungy as of yet, but you can see the Overlords kind of scrambling. This one getting in vision of that cannon is going to tip off these Corsairs. But are they going to survive the Hydralisk? Hydralisk getting a nice little ambush here. Gonna be able to knock out one, knock out two. Can they see the third one? Ah, almost gets it, but does lose 2 overlords to these crazy Protoss spaceships. Now the Hydra's here trying to bust this. I don't think there's enough here. Getting kind of tied up here with these Zealots. This is not a fight the Zerg wants to have. And I think these Hydras are going to get all cleaned up. Now down here, this DT did get that drone. I just wanted to point that out. And this Observer is following around these Overlords for when the Corsairs are reconstituted. Another gateway going down, increasing our count to 5. Because we have this one here, right? Almost forgot about that one, but no. There's a gateway down here at the natural. And a whole buttload of Zealots. So starting to integrate some Zerglings. Does look like we're getting into Cracklings because we have a hive. That's right. Ultralisk Cavern down here at the 3rd base. We've got lurkers on the field. We're expanding to the entirety of the tech tree, ladies and gentlemen. We have a ZVP where neither player is goofing off and joking around. We do have a Corsair. Did just knock out another Overlord, successfully supply blocking our Zerg player, and only going to make matters worse as this Corsair runs around and kills more. Now there's no Spire or anything to enable like building of Scourge to help snipe these down. So really, Hydralisks are the best bet for defense for these Overlords, and they're kind of out of position. Still out there for the Corsairs to kind of hunt, shark them down, and be a nuisance to our Zerg player. Ooh, we're getting ultra speed. We're getting roided out elephants about to hit the field. We're getting cracklings. I think this might come down to one giant ass push from the Zerg. I think Jungy is just going to like control group 1 through 0, A move, and just shred everything. Unless there's a bunch of storms. Storm do be good against Zerglings. Never saw that shuttle do anything either. That would have been pretty cool. Alright, massing up a force. Still supply blocked from the Corsairs doing their work. Observer out here trying to spot for the Corsairs. Whole bunch of Zealots coming in. Okay, now this is a lot of Zealots. This is a lot of Cracklings. And we've got Ultras, and we've got Hydras, and we've got Overlords, and we've got a Lurker. Corsairs. Okay, a little out of position. But here we go. Ultras and Zerglings. The dynamic duo. Big storm there on the Ultras. Oh my goodness. And the Zerg swarms. The Zelds are good. Let's see how it goes. But I think Ultras are just better. And here we go. We're running across the map. We got roided out elephants. We've got cracklings. We're getting the plating for the Ultralisk as well. If this engagement doesn't do the trick for our Zerg player. Charging up against the wall here. Trying to sneak in behind with the Zerglings to target down the High Templar. Love that move. The Storm's getting some damage. Not a lot. That was a big one. But the Ultras are still alive. And we are out of Storms. And the supply is plummeting. Now the Ultras are being stupid because Ultras are stupid. But they're still powerful, and that is all it needed for Jungy to take game number 1. All right, GG. Oh, Ultras make me happy. Unless I'm facing them, then they make me sad. But Jungy's going to get 1 on the board here, and we're going to be going into game number 2. Will Jungy be able to seal the deal with a 2-0? I don't know. We're going to have to find out. And let's go into game number 2. Now this one is going to actually be on Eclipse. Probably. Now, Eclipse is always fun because, as mentioned, it's a 2-player map. And Zerg has 4 pool in their sleeve, which is always great on a 2-player map. And so our Zerg player I'm referencing is Jungy up here in the top right, representing the big naturals. And then down here in the bottom left, we've got Peru, also known as Peru, representing the Bargain Bin Bonjwas. We'll have to see how both players play this out. Now, I believe even though these replays are flip-flopped, I do think these games were played in this order. So, I don't know if last game we'll be able to connect the dots based on like what we see in this game that may have led to the adjustments in that one. And I think Polestar is game number 2 as well. And Knockout, I think, is game number 3. So we'll have to see how it all lines up through the series. Mining. Yep. Pylon going down here at the natural, setting up for another Forge Fast Expand. Oh, you guys had to play your matches in more than one sitting. Got it. Alright. Got the spawning pool, then the Overlord. Probe heading straight across. If I was a probe, I'd probably have to make noises for myself whenever I did anything. Be like, and I imagine that's what this probe's doing as well. Alright, so we're getting a gas here. Spawning pool finishing up. We'll see if we go 3. Yup. 3 pairs of Zerglings, baby. Got the Forge going down. We'll see if he ends up going Nexus Gateway again. I think the city might be a little bit awkward here. Oh, we're starting off with cannons this time. Okay. So a little bit different from the last game that we saw. We have the Nexus going down, so no gateway as of yet. And I think maybe the gateway can fit here. With the Forge out front. We will have to see. We've got an expansion going down for our Zerg player. What do you do with those Zerglings? They're hanging out here at the natural. This is very similar to what we saw last game. Popped out the Zerglings. They hung out back home. Nice little defense. Allow him to get his game plan up and going. Nothing really going on in the Protoss main. Another cannon and then gateway. Okay, so we're doing cannon, gateway. I hope the Nexus can still fit there. I'm sure it can. About to find out. Yeah, it can. Cool. So this looks rather solid against this. Looks like we might be going for that macro hatchery again. Unless this was just a miss rally. But probably not. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so third hatchery going down. We've stopped gas mining. Ronin up. Nexus finishing up, about halfway done. And now getting gas. Overlord's going to sneak in here, get a full scout off what the Protoss is up to. And we wait. We wait for the fight, ladies and gentlemen. Uh-oh. Is Overlord getting a little too close for comfort? Ah, that's a shame. Overlord goes down. That is going to supply block our Zerg player. And then his buddy is coming up. Just to double check everything that he saw originally. Getting a second gas here at the natural for our Zerg player. Still no lair. Going straight into Hydralisk Den. Okay, so different build order than last time. I like this better. I like this better for our Zerg player. I think Jungy's going to be set up pretty well to start massing Hydralisks. And because of the way the city is, he's going to be able to come down here and at least pick off this Forge. Now we have another probe sneaking out. I'm wondering if probably try to get a confirmation of the tech and where the Zerg is standing in relation to getting their army up, but also might be looking and hunting for just like a third base, seeing okay, is the Zerg player still on 2, or are they branching out? A couple safety colonies being put down by Jungy, however you pronounce it. And we're going into the layer somewhere. Oh, we're putting the layer right here in front. Cool. Now the layer does have more HP than a hatchery, so thought process here might be, you know, strengthening this wall. Second assimilator. Okay, now here's the Stargate. Okay, so a little bit earlier Corsairs than we saw last game. In fact, both these players, their builds look a little bit more refined than the game we watched last. Got Lugi range, got Overlord speed. Zergling's going to come up here and try to clear out this base, make sure there's no shenaniganry, no protassiness happening up here at the 1 o'clock. Now, +1 weapons on the way. So this timing, generally, you could, if you had enough Hydralisks, come down here and deny that from the Protoss player. But we're not seeing a whole burst of Hydralisks right now. We're kind of just seeing expansion, Zerg's getting their third base, sitting back and droning. Now, like last game, we have Overlords all over the place. And so this could be scary when the Corsairs start coming out. Also getting another gateway, 2 gateways, and a Templar. So we're going to be seeing Templar again. We'll see if the Storms are more effective than they were last game. I think last game there was probably an opportunity to probably slow down that last final Zergling Ultralisk push if the Storms had just gone a little bit more in favor of Peru. Evolution Chamber being thrown down, and here comes the Corsair. Now that's funny, Corsair's beelining it to the base, but there's no Overlords here. The only thing here is a Hydralisk. So he's going to get the full scout off, but he's not going to find any Overlords. There's no Overlords in the base. All the Overlords are forward placed along the map. So this Corsair is going to have to go hunting a little bit. But when he does start finding Overlords, there's nothing that our Zerg player is really going to be able to do about it. Now they are faster this time. Last time they were still slow when the Corsairs were out. And it doesn't look like Jungy is going to get down here in time to really deny that upgrade. But we are starting to see a whole bunch of Hydralisks being popped out. We're seeing Spore colonies being morphed, 1 in each base. And the Corsair is aware that this third base is up now. And that's going to trigger a reaction, right? We're going to send these speed lots, a whole fanatic of them, straight up to the 1 o'clock. Now, I don't think these are going to get much done. They're going to run in there. I don't know. There's not much drones, right? Like 1 drone, maybe a second one about to be there. There hasn't been a transfer yet. This is going to be seen once they hit the creep, and I think it's going to trigger a reaction where these Hydras and Lings go in there and just clean it up. But we'll see if he can target down this hatchery. He's going to kill that drone. Here's the reaction. And we'll see how fast... Okay, Zealots are good. I kind of wish he had just targeted down this hatchery, because these Zealots are going to get cleaned up now, where I think he could have denied that. I think Chopstick Boys could have come in here and just poked this to death. Oh, man. But the hatchery is weakened, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. We'll have to remember that as this game progresses, because there may be an opportunity for a Protoss player to come back in there with a little backstabbiness and schwack it. Okay, some of these newly morphed drones going to be heading over there to the third, start saturating it. A whole nother wave, a whole nother fanatic of Zealots is here at the front, this time with some Stormy Boys. We do have a couple Corsairs hanging out back at home. I would like to see these out on the map, because, I mean, we can see right here, there's 4 Overlords just chilling around the map. There's a 5th one. Pretty undefended. Ooh, nice little ambush here from the Hydralisks. Are going to be able to save that Overlord and knock out one of those Corsairs from Peru. Okay, zealot counts are continuing to increase. Corsair count as well. And here comes a whole barracks explosion, bringing up the, or not barracks, gateway explosion, bringing the gateway count up to 6. What is that? 3, 4, oh, 5. No, 6. I can count. Was this +2 melee? Yeah, +2 melee on the way here for our Protoss player. And these Corsairs are going to head up here, likely going to find this Overlord chilling by itself. And they're probably going to get the scout off in this 4th base. Now, for our Zerg player, we have a Hive, but it's not here. No. We put the Hive right here. We've got the Hive morphing, and we're likely going to see some more Ultralisk action. That's what we're all here for. Ultralisk and carriers. Why build anything else? Don't tase me, bro. The Overlord goes down. Drone had to watch all of that. Here come the Hydralisks trying to ambush these Corsairs, but they're long gone, heading home. Ground army continues to increase here for our Protoss player, sitting at 83 supplied. Now the worker count for Zerg is looking really good. 43 to 37 in favor of Zerg. This hatchery is still beat up and bleeding. It's like really bleeding. Here comes the initial push with Hydras. Now, I don't think this Hydra push is really going to get anything done. ET on the field. Keep an eye on that guy. Okay, it looks like they're just kind of parking. Now, Lurker aspect is almost complete. Once it is done, I imagine we're going to see this entire thing just become eggs. Got to replace those Overlords that the Corsairs are schwacking. Got drones hugging a wall. Zerglings crackling upgrades coming into play. This looks like last game a little bit. 3rd base for Protoss, though. Could keep him in this game. This is starting to look scary. So, Lurker has been researched. And I want to see how many he makes, because we have a whole buttload of cash. Okay, we've got 2 control groups of Hydralisks here. Do we stay as Hydras, or do we go Lurkers? We stay as Hydras. Hail Hydra. What's that from? Is that Captain America, or is that He-Man? Oh, big storm! Oh, another big storm! Oh my gosh. We got smushed bugs all over the place. Zealots are going to come out here, clean all of this up. Another big storm! Oh man, Captain America, thank you, Staged. That was driving me nuts. Now, I don't know where the DT went, but it probably died. Yeah. I didn't do a good job of keeping an eye on that. So, we do have our Hive. We have 6 Ultras morphing. We've got Ultra Steroids being researched. That hatchery's still bleeding. This one is fresh, brand new, and the drones are all coming out. Yeah, we're just freeing supply for Ultras, baby. Like, that's all it is. The Hydras are just there to scare him. Keep him in his base for a second. Now, we're down to 1 cannon. 1 cannon. Expended a few of the storms, but we got lots of energy on these. Lots of energy. Now, we're at least at +2 melee. What are we at? +2 melee. We've got +3 melee on the way. No armor. Armor's for wussies. I need no stinking armor. And we've got Ultras. Here we go. We've got our 6 Ultras. We've got a whole boatload of Zerglings. And we're going left. Or west. Alright. Now we're probably going to meet around here. Now I wonder if he's going to go to that 3rd base. Whoop. Going to the 3rd base. Alright. The cracklings are charging in. Making quick work of these cannons, of these pylons. Cracklings are insane. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this video is not sped up. This is the true speed of Zerglings. Now look at this. Dual-pronged attack. More Zerglings, more Ultras coming in. Now what does our Protoss have? Protoss has Storms, a Cannon, and a Dream. But here come the +2 melee Zealots, starting to poke holes in all these elephants. Now they are good. Big Storm there. That was pretty well placed. Killed a lot of Zerglings. damage these ultras pretty heavily. Now, this army was coming in on 2 fronts. Now, the Zerg killed the 3rd, but it wasn't coordinated to hit at the same time. So these Zealots are getting a lot done. Now, I wish we'd see more storms here. There it is. There it is. I got my wish. But this is still a bunch of ultras, man. And all of the Zealots on the front line have gone down. Another big storm. Now, ultras are mostly stupid, but these ones happen to get around to wall. Another big storm, killing everything to include some High Templar, but it was worth it. This attack has essentially been quelled. But wait, we just have 1 Dragoon and 1 Zealot. Who wins? Ultra wins. All right, forced to run away. Storm's a good unit, man. Storm is a good unit. All right, a lot more ultras. I think Protoss is in danger, right? Cue the Ralphie meme. It's like, I'm in danger. Because that took everything Protoss had to defend the natural, even when that army was split in half. And this time we're having a consolidated effort of roided out elephants, cracked out Zerglings, come crashing in like a giant tidal wave, and here they come. I don't think we have the storms left to make this happen. Oh man, everything is just getting schwacked. And there's the GG. Jungy's gonna be able to take it 2-0. Giving big naturals another W. Alright, let me go ahead and fix this real quick. Boom, boom. And then I need to step away from my computer for just like 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Alright, I'll be right back. And just like that, I'm back. All right, we're going into our last series round. Right now, Big Naturals leads 2-1 over the Bargain Bin Bonjwas. And here to close out the match, the decider of it all, whether they are going to be tied up at the end of this in Tier 4, or if, who's ahead? If Big Naturals ends up taking it, is going to be Strawberry versus Whirlwind. This is going to be ZVT. We finally get to see some Terran. I know that's what everyone comes for. And so now we're going to get it. Lucky you. Let me go ahead and change the scoreboard for the in-game scoreboard. We've got Strawberry, one of the better berries. And then we've got Whirlwind, one of the better wins for Big Naturals. We're going to be playing on Eclipse, hopefully, unless everything's mixed up again. And I think that's everything we need. Let me go ahead and find the game. Yep, Eclipse. Here we go. All right, here we go. Strawbles, also known as Strawberry, representing the Bargain Bin Bonjwas, is going to be spawning up here in the top right. Down here in the bottom left, our blue Terran, Summit Wind, also known as Whirlwind, representing the Big Naturals, the biggest of naturals, most natural of bigs. Right. And my kids are home from school, so if you hear children in the background, that's what you're hearing. The craziness of the baby sharks. Alright, so up here, nothing has happened since I stopped talking. We'll see what we go for. Boom, 9 pool. So solid 9 pool coming out here from Strawberry. Always a good time. No Overlord. Getting right into it. Meanwhile, we have a wall being built down here for Summit Wind. And we'll see how this goes. Again, thanks for watching. T4 is my favorite. Barracks being thrown down here for Summit Wind. Getting a nice little wall off here. Gonna help slow down, provide small openings where SEV and some Marines can block any flood of Zerglings that may be coming in. And it is a 2-base map, so you gotta be prepared for the most aggressive of aggressive things. But in this case, it looks like only 2 Zerglings being made. And Terran's going to be sending over an SCV just to double check, make sure he is aware of what's going on. If he's seeing a string of Zerglings heading straight across the map, or whether he still has some time. Second supply depot going down here at the wall at the natural. We do have gas on full bore. So this looks like it potentially might be a mech build. Of sorts. We do have the factory going down. So we'll have to keep an eye on what Summit Wind does. We have 4 Zerglings chasing around Bob the SCV. And he's hauling ass back home. Now the Marine's going to be here. This is kind of what I was talking about with the SCV, just plugging the gap. And be able to keep these Zerglings at bay. Now if this SCV is mineral walking, shouldn't have an issue getting past his own wall. Ah, but he's not mineral walking. Does he survive? He does, and he even gets repaired. Welcome home, Bob. Now, we've got a whole lot more Zerglings being produced from our Zerg player. But this wall's going to be a little bit challenging. Oh, but the SCV's left! This is one of those opportunities where the Zerglings can poke in and actually just shred these Marines real quick. Not like this, though. They gotta be bunched up. One at a time is not going to quite cut it. But stopping at 2 Marines, it looks like we are going into Vulture production. And when the Vulture pops out, that's usually, you know, game over for kind of this early Zergling phase. But if he had gotten all of these, plus those original 2, plus this straggler in this wall, could have definitely delayed this CC. Hell, there's still an opportunity right now. Well, now the Vulture's out. So, maybe not. Oh my gosh, look at this hiding behind the tree. That's some high-level play right there. I love that. I wonder what his natural colors were in this game, too. Okay, pink. Not quite. I was wondering if maybe he was like dark green. He just looks like the foliage. Okay, we got 2 Vultures. We have a 3rd on the way. Second factory, it does look like we are going into kind of potential for like a Goliath build. Now these Vultures, nice little patrol micro going on here from Summit Wind, is going to be able to clean up these Zerglings and head across the map. Now, Strawberry is in a little bit of trouble here, because these Vultures are going to be able to just run straight in here and start picking off drones. We don't have a Spire yet. We have a couple creep colonies. The layer is complete. We've only got a few Zerglings. These Vultures, if they're not surrounded, could straight up end the game right now. Okay, Sunken Colony is being morphed in. So there's a small window of time where these Vultures can do some heavy damage. Killing a lot of Zerglings. Now this is still big damage in its own right, in the fact that we're using up larvae to make these Zerglings, and these Vultures are just erasing them. Ooh, parking up here behind the gas would be great, but unfortunately this Sunken's going to kill both of those Vultures. But if those Vultures were able to sit here and deny that gas, the amount of damage opportunity from the future Mutalisks, which there's no Spire, I guess, but if there was a Spire, you could really slow down that portion of the game. A lot more Vultures coming out, so I thought it was going to be a Goliath build. We have not transitioned to Goliath production yet. We are going into 3 factories. We do have armor vehicle plating being upgraded here for our Terran player. And still more Zerglings for Strawberry. which I'm very glad Strawberry is also red. It's kind of frustrating when Strawberry is like blue or a different color. And you know what? That actually makes more sense. The Strawberry was pink. Well, I guess maybe not. I've never had a pink Strawberry. But man, I bet they're delicious. Alright, Vulture's going to come out here. Ugh, getting a little bit close there on one of the Vultures. Kind of microing it, trying to keep it away from the bulk. A lot of these Vultures on hold position are going to just be mowed down by the Vultures, but Strawberry does react, pulls them back a little bit. But yeah, Vultures against Zerglings at this stage in the game, they just shred. So more patrol micro. And we may be able to get some drone kills here. Alright, the Vultures are doing work here against this Zerg player. Didn't kill really any drones though. Weakened a couple of them. And retreats back to the safety of the Sunkens. Now the Spire is going to be finishing up here. Strawberry, you know, unfortunately because of all those lings, doesn't have a whole lot of minerals, but does have a lot of gas. So we're going to be seeing Mutalisk coming out here very shortly, but the pressure from Summit Wind really slowed this down from Strawberry. And back home, we'll see what he's producing. It looks like we've got Goliaths, we've got Goliath Range, we've got Siege being upgraded. Look at this production tab. We've got everything in the kitchen sink being made for Summit Wind because he had all that money. He was microing those Vultures, and he comes back home and he's like, oh, I'm rich. Build it all. And so he throws it down, getting a 4th factory, getting turrets, getting a starport, has an eBay, just building everything. A lot of creep colonies going down. So Strawberry sitting back and kind of going on the defensive. I think recognizing that the window of opportunity for the Mutalisk was likely kind of spoiled from the early pressure and the economy loss based on having to throw down Sunkens, having to spend larva on a bunch of lings. So might just be turtling up here for a minute. Meanwhile, Summit Wind is throwing down a 3rd base. Now, I'm not sure if this was seen by an Overlord or anything, but we do have lings out on the map starting to go out and check. Now, it looks like Strawberry is checking kind of like the natural 3rd, which makes taking this 3rd a little clever from Summit Wind. This is almost serving as like a ninja base, right? It's kind of in a less expected location. So Strawberry is going to hit this and see that there's nothing there. And is pretty much just calling it good. He might come over here and check as well, because there's a base here and there's a base here. But opting to stay up here on the high ground and keep an eye out for any move outs. Alright, now the muta numbers are starting to grow, but you see they're growing pretty small, and we're limited here by the minerals. He's got plenty of gas. Alright, cool, cool. We have a Vulture up here. Got a whole bunch of kills, probably from Zerglings earlier. I haven't seen whether a drone was sent up here, but the Overlord's going to spot it, and the Zerglings are going to come up here and clean it. And so now there's an opportunity for Strawberry to get a 3rd. Okay, what do we got? We got more Vulture play coming from our Terran player. We've got a whole bunch of tanks and Goliaths now. So Terran is really starting to acquire a force that's pretty scary for what we have on the Zerg side. I also want to point out with the Starport, we have Science Vessel, we have Irradiate. I like Summit Wind's position here against the Zerg player. Strawberry has 3 Mutalisks, Queen's Nest, a couple hatcheries, so Strawberry is in the position of trying to ramp up for massive army production. But we'll see if he has time, right? Like if Terran decides to move out, Strawberry is going to be in a really tough spot. And what I'd like to see is I'd really like to see these mutas at least out on the map. Not necessarily like harassing the main, but just checking, looking around, seeing what they can see. I'm sure the Overlords have spotted some mines, maybe go and clear some mines. Interesting drone. Is this a rally? Oh no, this might be a rally. Alright, Terran continuing to build up. The supply is getting a little scary. Terran is currently up 20 workers, up 50 supply, getting a 4th base. I think Zerg's going to need to start doing some damage here really soon. Otherwise, Terran's going to be able to move out with a push once the vehicle weapons are upgraded. And he's got 1-1. And it might just be unstoppable. Alright, the Mutalisks are going to move out. They are going to see the Vultures, but they're going to run right into these Goliaths. Now, is he going to pull back and try to defend, or is he going to push forward and see if he can pull this army back with him? It looks like he's going to hem over here and hit this 4th base. Now, this is going to hopefully slow down the Terran a little bit. Getting clogged up here on the ramp. The Mutalisks are going to go into the main. Big opportunity for damage. Now, there are a couple of turrets here. There's only 6 Mutas, too. I kind of thought there was more. But going to be able to knock out at least 1 turret. There's a little bit of a dead zone down here. This turret is just a freaking beast when it comes to range. Holy crap. Oh, but does spot the science vessels down here and might be able to knock them out. But unfortunately, targeting onto this starport, not going to be hitting those. Meanwhile, I think where the attention is this going on up here. Now you can see the rally. The drones are taking hits from these vultures. You can see the rest of the mutas sitting here as well. And Terran is starting to set up for their big push. Looks at this, says 4 mutas, whatever. That's going to take all day for you to really do any significant damage. Sending some Goliaths over to clean it up, irradiates them. That's done. Now it's time for Terran's turn. Terran is moving up and about to put a walloping here on this base. Now, as long as he doesn't completely miscontrol this, and as long as these mines don't blow up on top of all of this stuff, Terran should be in a very good position. Oh no, Siege. Sieging up the tanks. Gonna start wiping out these Zerglings. Now the Zerglings had an opportunity there. And they still might, if they can close the distance here and get a mine to explode, that could turn the tide of this entire battle. Now there's only 1 Goliath up here. The rest of them were sent back, right? They're all over here at that 3rd base. So these mutas might be able to clean up this entire army for free. You can see the muta count. Much more significant than the original, like, 5 sent over to the main base. This is a lot of dead tanks. Now, for that, killed some Zerglings, killed a couple Sunkens. This is some really good compensation from our Zerg player. But the Goliaths have arrived. The Science Vessel has arrived. And at this level, trying to split out an irradiated Mutalisk is really tough. And these Mutalisks are just, oh my gosh, they are just evaporating. Huge play from our Terran player. That was absolutely ginormous. Gonna get an Overlord just for good measure. And now the gates are wide open. The gates are completely wide open. This Terran army, there's nothing to stand in front of it but a Sunken and some Lings. And I think this might be the beginning of the end of our Zerg player. Strawberry putting up a huge fight here, but Terran able to amass this giant mech force is just walking through. And you can see the supplies now, right? Like, Strawberry is about 1/3 of the supply. Has a lot of larvae to work with. Well, I should say hatcheries. But unfortunately, having to, oh man, throw into Zerglings, they're just not enough to even approach this army through the hail of bullets. I mean, as soon as they hatch, they die. Getting a couple units here and there, but at extremely inefficient rates. Oh man, and the mines. Mining up the ramp. Putting on a tight contain here. Sending up into the main base. And more Zerglings just pouring out. Oh, there's an Ultra! Game's not over yet. When Zerg has Ultras, anything is possible. And it dies. Okay, so that Ultra died. Ooh, let's try with this one. Here we go. And it dies. Are there more? I think that's it. Strawberry's out of Ultras and out of time. GG. That was fun. That's going to be a win for Whirlwind and the big naturals. Now, this is a best of 3 series, so we have more games to watch. Let's get into it. Let's go back here to this view. Whirlwind scores a W for the big naturals. Or at least a map win for the big naturals. And let's go ahead and go into map number 2. This is taking a little bit longer than I thought it would, so I am a little strapped for time. We gotta cruise through this. Next map is gonna be on Polestar. That's not the window I want. Here, look at my computer. And let me change the map name to Polestar. All right, everything should look correct now. Strawberry up in the top right, representing Bargain Bin Bonjwas. That's correct. And then in the bottom left, we have our blue Terran, Summit Wind, also known as Whirlwind, representing the big naturals. Coming off a big W with mech play. We'll see if he goes mech again, or if he ends up doing something more bio-based. We'll have to find out. Alright, we'll wait to see what comes up. Like I said, I'm a little strapped for time, so I'm gonna double speed, I think, the early portion of this. Unless there's some sort of cheese popping out. Is there cheese? No, there's just a supply depot. And then we'll see with the spawning pool. Okay, so it looks like we're going over pool this time. Droning up, droning up. Okay, so we might be going up to 12 before pool. Might even go into an expansion. Does look like expanding is not the thing. Okay, it does look like expanding is the thing. Alright, so Zerg throwing down a 12 hatch. Meanwhile, similar wall going up for Summit Wind like we saw last game. And the SCV is scouting up here into the top left. Now, cross scout with the drone is going to identify the wall. And so now Zerg has confirmation of the location. It's going to go up into the main, see that there's factory play about to be jumping in as well. So definitely seeing the gas go. Not seeing the factory go down, but there's the factory. And so we're going to be having more mech play. This time being a little bit different than last time. We saw kind of like a 9-pool play from Strawberry. Didn't really get much payoff from the early Zerglings. And so now going into more of an economic build might have a little bit of a different engagement here with the mech. Now, something that Strawberry, I'm sure, is thinking about is the effectiveness of those vultures in the early game. And so I'm wondering if Strawberry will throw down like a preemptive sunken and the natural, or what the game plan is there. Because I don't think he's going to be able to get in, get the economic damage with just a couple Zerglings. Which he did make 4. And 3rd hatchery. But I'm curious to see how he's going to play against the vulture play. So the factory is complete. Vulture is on the way. 2 Marines again. Expansion. 4 Zerglings are going to come down here. There's no SCV this time. So we'll see if they end up poking all the way beyond the wall, or if they're just going to stop short and keep an eye on any push-outs. But now that the Vulture's here, like, there's not, these 4 Zerglings aren't going to do anything. Alright, so the Vulture being sent straight across the map. After they do some patrol micro and kill these Zerglings. One more shot. There we go. Okay, Vulture heading straight across. Okay, so this time we're seeing the Sunkens go down here at the natural. Now, they're a little far from the mineral line. And there's also gaps here to where this Vulture can just run up into the main. So a little bit dangerous still for the Zerg player. There's one drone. Gonna get a... Ooh. Gotta love Zerg healing. Oh, you gotta keep an eye on the Sunkens. Unfortunately, the Vulture does go down. But there was an opportunity where that Vulture could have come up here and been a real pain in the butt. We do have a layer finishing up here for our Zerg player. And overall, I think compared to last game, Zerg is sitting in a lot better position. Last game, I think the early Vulture damage was much more significant, and they came in pairs, right? This Vulture's not going to get anything done. You're not going to get past 2 Sunkens, a 3rd one on the way with 1 Vulture. So now Strawberry has an opportunity to kind of sit back and work through their game plan. Now we've got 4 hatcheries up, and I wouldn't be shocked if we saw actually some sort of like Hydralisk lurker push coming from this. I think that Strawberry wants to get rid of this scouting SCV before he reveals the tech that he wants to push towards. So we're going to see this get chased down by a drone, which unfortunately is in the way of these lings. There we go. A little bit of a traffic jam. And once this SCV dies, I imagine we'll see a tech choice. Boom, dead. Okay, now what? Now what? Evo chamber. Alright. Back at home for the Terran. Got a second gas just now up and running. We're at 3 factories, 2 with add-ons. We're getting more vultures, but we're going straight into siege. So we don't have the armory yet. We're not getting... well, I guess the armory just went down, just finished. But I don't know if he's going to be going straight into Goliaths. Okay, he is. But he opted to get siege and range now. So siege first. And I imagine that's a reaction to seeing the number of Sunkens here. That might be just like his method to break through that. So Queen's Nest on the way. Looks like we're going to be racing up towards Hive. Now I wonder if, or maybe we're just going to use Queens. So using Queens and Spawn Broodling would be a great counter for the likely tank push that we're going to be seeing here soon from Summit Win. Alright, first Goliath is out. We're having to build turrets because we didn't get confirmation as Terran as to if this mutapressure was coming or not. Now we, the all-knowing observers, know that it's not coming. So, nice little force there. Vulture running around, keeping an eye on whether or not the Zerg expands to the 12 o'clock. And getting a good amount of Zerglings just for fun. Whole lot of Zerglings. Okay, the Zergling to clean out the Vulture. Alright, now we're just pumping. Pumping Goliaths. Waiting for that armor upgrade to finish up. We have another factory being built, 4 factory. Another factory, so we're going up to full 5, and we're getting a starport somewhere. There it is. Meanwhile, for the Zerg, we've got a whole bunch of Zerglings, and you guessed it, Spawn Broodling, baby. You're going to see actual queens in this match. Very exciting. Alright, so Zerglings are going to come down here and check the 6 o'clock. Now, we saw this kind of play last game as well, where the Zerg kind of checked like the natural 3rd expansion locations, and Terran was sneaky with where they took their 3rd. We're not seeing that this time. Terran opting not to expand. Or actually, that might have been... Yeah, that was last game. A lot of Goliaths here. Droning up. Getting Zerglings. Getting Hive. Spawn Broodling is complete. And we've got to get those queens out if we are going to use them, because it takes forever for them to get enough energy to actually cast Spawn Broodling. Looks like we're getting a second armory. We're getting science facilities. So definitely going to hit a 5 factory kind of like +1 timing push here. +1 armor just about to finish up. Vulture speed finishing up. 5 queens. Oh man, oh man. This has the opportunity to be awesome. The biggest thing I'm worried about here for our Zerg player, though, is there's so many Goliaths. Like, poking in and casting Spawn Broodling on these tanks. Ooh, first of all, nice way to aggro all of those lanes into their death. But if those queens try to poke in and Spawn Broodling on tanks, these Goliaths are just going to shred them. That's going to be a lot of investment down the drain. Alright, so keeping the queens concealed, kind of keeping them back in the main base. There's no scans for our Terran player, so no way of our Terran player to discover those until it's too late. So having that ambush, that element of surprise, with the queens, when they come out, the first time they're exposed, they need to kill everything. Like every single one of these tanks needs to become broodlings. And there's only 3 of them. And we know that there's 5 queens. So we're getting mines. Using them to contain the Zerg. We do have a drone up here. So still an opportunity to get a 3rd base. That mine was huge, by the way. Killing like all the Zerglings. And I'm not sure the Zergling heavy play is really the way to go against the amount of vultures that we're seeing. Sunken's gonna knock those out. This mine, oh my god. Okay, good reaction there. That could have been a lot worse. And now we're, whoops. And now we're waiting for the push. Overlord goes down, and here comes Terran. Now, this is gonna be a key moment. Can the queens come in here, and can they spawn broodling on all of these tanks? I don't know. A good amount of energy. 119. I don't remember how much it costs to cast spawn broodling, but it's a lot. All the Zerglings just melting. Sunken's getting some good shots off on some of these Goliaths. That'll be useful for when the queens are employed. But now we're up against the wall. Now there's a clock. We've got to kill these tanks. Right now we do have Ultras on the way. Got 2 Ultras morphing for our Zerg player. Still gathering up energy for these queens. Doesn't want to spring them until the moment is just right. You want to maximize the amount of damage. But this is a lot. This is a lot of tanks. This is a lot of Goliaths and Vultures. Now this tank, a little out of position, does go down for free. Now can the queen get it off? Oh no! He casted Parasite. Oh no! There's the spawn broodling. Oh man, losing that queen for a Parasite, not the way you want to do it. And right now this approach, a little tough. Oh, there's another one. Excellent. Alright, now here come the Ultralists. A little disjointed, but I gotta say, I loved the effort here on using queens. Right? Like, busting out spellcasters is always tough, and queens especially are tough to deal with. And so this push looks like it's going to be kind of clearing up Strawberry. I don't think Strawberry has much of a chance to come back, but the use of queens was definitely awesome. Oh man, they just pop to these these Goliaths. Ooh, good mind drag. Oh no, they die too quick. But here's Ultras. When there's an Ultra, there's a way. Ultra's doing pretty good here. The tanks didn't really follow up with the rest of the army. They end up getting cleaned up. There's only 1 Ultra left. Queen gonna come in here, spawn Broodling. Excellent. Very efficient. You get 1 spawn Broodling, and I think a Queen pays for herself, if not more. Now we got Science Vessels in the fight. Goliath's in the main base. And there's the GG. And Whirlwind is going to take it 2-0. Great games, great games. All right, let's go ahead, go back to our handy-dandy scorecard. Let's give Whirlwind his well-deserved 2-0. And that is going to be it. That gives Big Naturals the victory in Tier 4 of 3-1 against the Bargain Bin Bonjwas. Great time. So let's go ahead and do our anthem, and I'll send you guys all off. If there's anyone you think I should raid, let me know. At the end of the song, we'll pick someone to raid. Alrighty. Oh no, it needs to restart. We gotta restart the anthem. Here we go. Gotta stretch those fingers. Play that piano. Gotta jam on it.
Winners rise and losers fall, reflexes sharp, minds and floor. Gamers play, this never ends. CPL, legends play. CPL, we fight tonight. Let us sing the storyline. From the shadows to the dream, we are the Coach-Pupil League. We are the Coach-Pupil
I only stream, so I can do that anthem. Everything else is just a cherry on the top. Let's go ahead and see who's streaming. We've got 80s Mullet. Let's do 80s Mullet. He's playing Brood War. He's playing Terran. I think that's a great person to raid. All right, let's go ahead and start that raid. Thanks again for watching. If you haven't joined CPL, you should. If you would like to join Starcraft Underground, you should also do that too. And I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.